Welcome to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio, online at fppradio.com. So I've sort of started doing something the last few weeks to where I'll make announcements at the beginning of the show, or I'll rant. And, well, I've got an announcement that I'm really excited about, and I hope that some of you are as well. Well, you're not excited right now because I've not told you what the announcement is, but like after I tell you the announcement, hopefully, it will bring some excitement and some joy to your day. So I am finally motivated enough to finish a book that I've been working on for several years. And when I say several years, I mean like 5 or 6 years. Now, it's not something that I've been working on consistently for that long. It's something that I had the idea several years ago to do, and so I started working on like the introduction, and then, sort of ran into not necessarily writer's block per se, but wasn't really sure how to proceed. And then a couple of years ago, I got this idea of this is how I want to proceed with the book, and I was somewhat motivated, got a couple chapters written to the book, and then again sort of hit I don't really know where to go from here. And within the last couple of months, I've chatted with a few people and came up with additional chapters that I want to write. And it's not going to be a very long book, and that's generally how my books tend to be, where they're not very long, because I like to write a book that I would want to read, and I don't like long books. Yes, I know that I read some like 400 and something page book when I was in jail. It was a fiction book, but like I had nothing else to do, so I read a book in junior high. And I'm going to reminisce here for a bit. In junior high, I read the Warren Commission report. That thing is 1,200 pages, and I would say that was really the last long book that I read. And the reason I read the Warren Commission report is because I was doing a research paper on the Kennedy assassination, and that's the official story, right? So, you can't really do a report on the Kennedy assassination without actually reading the Warren Commission report. So I read the Warren Commission report and then, 5 other books, and all of them were really big. And I think that's really what turned me off to big books, was researching the Kennedy assassination. And there have been other lengthy-ish books that I've attempted to read. The Creature from Jekyll Island is a fairly thick book. And one thing, I will say one thing nice about G. Edward Griffin's book, The Creature from Jekyll Island. He has the summaries at the beginning of the chapters so that, you don't have to read all 500 and some odd pages of crap. You can just read the summaries, and then you can skip to the end and see what his conclusions are. And the reason that I'd say that there's 500 and something pages of crap is because of his conclusions. He wants the Treasury to handle the money. And he claims that, this is a constitutionalist position, but there's nothing in the U.S. Constitution that says that the Treasury is to issue paper currency. That was something that was created by the tyrant Lincoln so that he could create money to fund his war. So let me, go back to the original point about the book. So I'm working with somebody where they're going through my writings that I've done over the last several years and posted online on my website, fpp.cc, and they're helping me compile these things by topic, and I'm going through, and no, I'm not just republishing stuff that's already out there. I know that, there have been people that have done that, and, there's nothing wrong with that, but I want to sort of show the transition that I've had. And that's really what this book is going to be, is sort of my path from where back when I was, like a teenager, forming opinions. At the time, I was probably what would be considered a Southern Democrat, although I never considered myself to be a Democrat. But a lot of the positions that I used to hold many, many years ago, 20-some-odd years ago, were positions that are totally opposite of what I hold now. So it sort of shows how, like, this is what I believe, this is what I learned, this is what I believe now. And it's sort of my progress. And the title of the book is A Rebel's Journey. And I'm still working on the subtitle, working on cover designs, and I'm going to be announcing something once I get almost done with the book, which should be by the end of the month. No later than the end of June is when I'll actually be done with the book. And sometime closer to PorcFest, which is June 21st through the 28th or 22nd through the 29th, somewhere around there, I will be announcing a fundraiser. And the reason I'm announcing or going to be announcing a fundraiser for the book is because I want to publish the book in a unique way. I want to give away the book. And I can't really do, like, I could, but, I still want to be, compensated in some manner for my work. So what I'm going to be doing, and again, I'll announce all of the details later, but what I'm wanting to do is give away the ebook and the audiobook, and also sell the book for like the minimum price that I'm allowed to sell through my distributor. And I know you're probably thinking, well, why should I donate if you're going to be giving this stuff away? Well, there's going to be bonus content that I will give away to the people that donate that will not be given to just everybody. Like, the content, a lot of it is already out there, so people could find it if they wanted to. But I'm wanting to take, like some of the best interviews that I've done on Peace, Love, Liberty Radio back when I was doing the 2-hour show on Sundays for about a year, almost 2 years, I think. I was doing a show on Sundays, 2-hour show, and I had a lot of guests. So I want to take some of the best interviews that I've had and put those together and take some of the other audio that I've created, some of the speeches I've given in various places, put all of that together, and I'm probably going to have like 5 or 6 hours of bonus content with the audiobook, but that bonus content will not necessarily be released with the audiobook that I release for free, if that makes any sense. And again, I'll be announcing, like details once I get everything flushed out. Is it flushed out or fleshed out? But either way, once everything is, more compiled and I'm almost ready to publish, I'm going to do the fundraiser that will go for 60 days. And then hopefully by September, I'm hoping to have the book out and give it away. Like that's what I want. Just give it away. Information should be free, right? You can support FPP Radio by joining the Fans program. Fans are friends, allies, and Numery supporters. Fans help FPP afford to produce more original content. You can join the Fans program for as little as $3 per month or any amount of Bitcoin per month, thanks to the recurring payment options provided by Coinbase. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com.
Hey, this is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends radio show. I've been working with computer programmer Derek Slopey to create Fiend Phone. I'm using Fiend Phone right now to talk with and record one of my co-hosts in real time. Take it, Davi.
Hey, this is Davi Barker, and I'm 1,000 miles away from Michael, but we sound like we're in the same room.
We sure do, Davi. So, Davi, please tell the nice people more about Fiend Phone.
FiendPhone is free, open-source software that opens up a global world of possibilities for collaborative, high-quality remote voice media production, and I'm digging it.
People can try the Windows beta version of FiendPhone right now at fiendphone.com. But we're also raising money to vastly improve FiendPhone and vastly improve independent talk media worldwide.
So go to fiendphone.com to help out. Who will build the audio roads? We will, with your help.
That's fiendphone.com. FEENPHONE.com. Foxtrot, Echo, Echo, November, phone.com.
FiendPhone. I never knew remote audio could be this good.
Welcome back to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio, online at fppradio.com. And just to sort of clarify something that I ended the segment on about information should be free, the actual information should be freely available. That's not to say that people that do research should not in any way be compensated. That is, one of the reasons I'm wanting to do a fundraiser. That way, it's in some ways it's the labor theory of value of, well, I put work into this, I should be compensated for it. But at the same time, value is subjective. So things are really worth only what people are willing to pay for them. So I'm going to have an amount for the fundraiser that if I meet it, if I don't meet the fundraiser, I'm still going to, sell the book as cheaply as possible and put out the ebook for free and put out the audiobook for free. But if I wind up, exceeding the goal greatly, and it's going to be something that I am going to be determining between now and when I actually announce it, if I wind up, greatly exceeding the goal, then all of the bonuses, and I'm going to be, forthright and upfront and say, if I wind up bringing in 3 times the goal, then everybody gets all of the perks. So, the people that donate specifically because they want the 6 hours of bonus audio, I'm going to put in there, if I get 3 times the amount, then everybody that donates gets all of the bonus audio. If I get, say 5 times the amount, then the bonus audio gets released with the audiobook. And that, in one way, is going to incentivize people that might not be willing to donate whatever threshold to get, a copy of the book and the bonus audio and this and that and the other thing. Maybe they can only afford to donate $5, but the accumulation of everybody donating $5 will help me reach that 5 times whatever my goal is going to be, and then they wind up getting the bonus audio anyway. So it's something that I'm still working out, and hopefully, it doesn't wind up, blowing up in my face, and I only get $5 for the thing. But we'll see. And it's something that I'm working out, and I'll be announcing more, especially once I have more details for you. I'll be announcing that, but look for that announcement coming up in about 4 weeks. Maybe shorter, but about 4 weeks is when I expect to have that announcement. So now let me jump into some of the news. And some of this is other people's opinions, but it's things that I think are very important and I definitely want to discuss. And there's one that I've actually been saving this for a couple of weeks because, as some of you know, I read a lot of news. And so I have to sort of compile things, and occasionally I forget where I've listed or made a list or whatever. I, at one time, had a document on my laptop, and the document is still there, but all of the data somehow was erased from the document. And I don't know if I've talked about this before, but I use Linux. I hate Windows. I use Linux. There's a program called LeafPad. And for some reason one day when my computer froze up and I had to force a reboot, it cleared out this document. It absolutely deleted everything. And what was in this document was a list of articles and news things that I wanted to talk about. It was my show prep folder. And that got cleared out, so now I've started putting some stuff in like a draft email to myself. Other things I'll use the Facebook save feature on, and then I forget that I've saved things, and I forget that I put it in an email, and whatever. So this is actually written by Joe Jarvis, who is the author of the book Anarchy in New England. And he wrote this a couple of weeks ago. It's titled 5 Reasons It Doesn't Make Sense to Tell People If You Don't Like America, Leave. And I wanted to share this specifically because of the whole, like, you know, don't stomp on the flag thing. Like, if you don't love the flag, then you should just move to Canada. That sort of sentiment. And, you know, it's been going on for a while, right? It's the people that I've heard some people refer to them as Americans, where it's just apostrophe M-U-R-I-C-A-N-S. And I saw something on the internet a couple of days ago where it was a picture. It looked like, you know, like the 1776, like in Independence Hall, and Patrick Henry's there, and he says, "Give me liberty and give me death." And somebody else says, "If you don't like it, leave." And the caption was, "If Americans existed in 1776." So I think it's kind of, you know, timely to read this. It's not really an article. It's in article form, but it's not, you know, a news article. It's a commentary article. But still, I definitely wanted to share this. So, again, it's from Joe Jarvis. I'll put the link in the show notes. And he writes, "I've been noticing lately a lot of people saying, if you don't like America, get the hell out. Part of this could be due to the whole flag stomping thing going around the internet. Clearly, those walking on the flag wanted to elicit that very response that they are getting. I don't think that stomping on a flag is a good political tactic because I'm interested in changing hearts and minds, not pissing people off and creating more tension. But I have a huge problem with the whole if you don't like it, get out mentality. First, I was born here. Just because some thug in D.C. claims they own 3.8 million square miles between 2 oceans, taking up half of North America, one of only 7 continents on Earth, does not mean it is my responsibility to leave if I don't like the force they regularly use against me and my fellow human beings. Most people that tell others get out if they don't like it also claim to believe in private property. So what they are saying is that the government is right to boss me around, and that supersedes my right to simply live peacefully on a piece of land that I also maintain as my home without hurting anyone. Secondly, he writes, someone is going to turn that phrase around at some point. Examples. If you don't like taxes, well, it's our civic duty, so if you don't want to pay, get out. Or if you don't like the president the people elected, you can get out. Or if you don't like regulations from the EPA, FDA, or Department of Energy, why don't you move to Somalia, where there are no regulations? Disagreeing with something or even going to extremes in using free speech to get your point across does not mean you have no business living anywhere from sea to shining sea. And let me just sort of back up here, and he writes about, you know, like it could be changed to if you don't like taxes, it's your civic duty. Well, if you don't want to pay, just leave. And this brings me to thinking about Burger King. Remember not too long ago when Burger King announced that they were moving to Canada because they didn't like taxes that were happening in the U.S.? Yeah, it's this same sort of thing. Oh, you don't like the taxes? Then leave. Oh, wait, well, you can't leave to avoid taxes. You have to stay here. You can't leave. But you just told me that I should if I didn't like it. You can't have it both ways. There's more when we come back on Peace, Love, Liberty Radio.
Why do they hate us? Is libertarianism compatible with Islam? Davi Barker answers these questions and more in Voluntary Islam and Other Essays. He advances the voluntarist cause with analysis of the confluence of values between Islam and libertarianism, as well as contemporary movements from the Tea Party to the Arab Spring. Voluntary Islam by Davi Barker is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores.
It is the year 91,001 BCE. Witness humanity's origins in Hyperchronius, a classic role-playing game for Windows PCs, with a story like no other game before. A liberty-oriented experience that is not to be missed. Go to zog.ninja to get your copy of Hyperchronius today. Use the code FPP to get $1 off. Hyperchronius, zog.ninja, code FPP.
In 2115 New England, there are no borders, no states, and no regulations, yet never has a more peaceful and prosperous place existed. But Mr. Drake's security company has seen better days. Faced with the prospect of waning power, Mr. Drake intends to replace the anarchy of New England with a government. But at what cost? And can anyone stop him? Anarchy in New England by Joe Jarvis is available from Amazon.com and all major bookstores.
Welcome back to Peace, Love, Liberty Radio, online at fppradio.com. So I'm reading here an article from Joe Jarvis, the author of Anarchy in New England, available now from Amazon.com, all major bookstores, and of course available with Bitcoin from the FPP shop, the Bitcoin shop, that is btcshop.fpp.cc is the address where you can find that book, available for Bitcoin. Or again, you can use credit card, debit card, whatever at Amazon. Use cash at any of the major bookstores. Just go in, ask for Anarchy in New England by Joe Jarvis. So he's got an article here titled 5 Reasons It Doesn't Make Sense to Tell People If You Don't Like America, Leave. Number 3 on the list, telling someone to leave sort of implies that there's somewhere else to go. You're telling me I must choose between a few hundred governments, each using a varying degree of unjust force to rule people? There is nowhere I can go and be left alone. Every piece of inhabitable land on earth has been claimed by some coercive violent group who will force me to follow their arbitrary rules if I move there. Number 4. For a long time, America stood for something good. Free speech, free markets, life, liberty, and property. But now it has gotten this bad. Instead of trying to improve it, instead of pointing out what went wrong, I'm supposed to leave because I disagree with whatever group. And as for disrespecting the flag, what happened to free speech? What happened to, I may not agree with what you say, but I will defend with my life your right to say it? When you tell someone to leave because you think they have disrespected what America stands for, you are forgetting what America once stood for: free speech. He writes, I'm sorry, but a piece of cloth is not more important than actual freedom. And you may recall the story that I discussed on, I believe it was Friday, about the girl not too far from where I'm recording right now, down in Swansea, New Hampshire, where she did not stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. And some teacher was like, you can't do that because America. And my father's in the military, and he fought for your right to do that, and that's disrespectful. No, like, sitting down while people pray to the government is not disrespectful as long as you're sitting there quietly. Like, that's what freedom is about. Like, freedom, to quote George Orwell, freedom is the freedom to say 2 + 2 = 4, especially when the government is saying 2 + 2 = 5. So freedom means the freedom to dissent. Ron Paul has a quote about, like, we don't have free speech to talk about the weather. And that's true. Like, you don't have freedom to agree. Like, that's what you're told in North Korea is like, you're free to agree with us. Or to paraphrase Bill Hicks, you're free to do as we tell you. You're free to do as we tell you. No, like, that's not freedom. If all you can do is what you were told to do, that is not freedom. It reminds me of 1984. Freedom is slavery. No, it's not. Freedom is freedom. Slavery is slavery. Like, you're not free to be a slave. Like, if you wanted to be, and this is where, some libertarians disagree about whether or not someone can sell themselves into servitude. And I believe if you actually are, the person that controls you, then yes, you have every right to sell yourself into slavery. I don't know why anybody would, but you certainly are capable of doing that. If you can be prevented from entering into a contract that enters you into servitude, then you're not really free. He continues here with number 5. You might be angry that I just called the flag a piece of cloth. You might claim it is not just a piece of cloth, but what it stands for that matters. You might bring up the countless people who have died supposedly for me, supposedly fighting for freedom, or supposedly protecting my rights. The other day, I was at work, and a coworker thanked a woman for her service in the military. Her reply was priceless. Well, I get paid. We all must do a cost-benefit analysis, and in a dangerous profession, you need to weigh the risk with the reward. If someone thinks $30,000 a year is worth it to risk their life killing whoever the U.S. government decides needs to be killed this year, don't drag me into it. It is already my stolen money being used to fund destruction. Don't add insult to injury by telling me I should be grateful. Maybe during the revolution, the flag stood for freedom or protecting us against foreign aggression. Hey, maybe even during the War of 1812, but if you haven't noticed, our soldiers are not defending the homeland or protecting the borders. They are in various countries, and at this point, it is getting hard to keep track of which ones did what. He asked, we're at war with Saudi Arabia for funding terrorism, right? Oh, wait, no, they are our ally whom we fund, and we're at war with Afghanistan for having mountains to hide in. We're at war with the Islamic State, or maybe Syria. First we helped the Islamic State, now we don't like them. Yeah, that's it. And then we are drone bombing anyone who might be a terrorist in any country, or if they simply attend the wrong wedding. The ironic part to me is that many of the people most annoyed by the flag stomping are people who claim to believe in the founding fathers and constitutional government. Why are they more angered by the flag being disrespected than by the fact that what the flag stood for has been eviscerated by our government? If the flag represented freedom of speech, freedom of oppression, life, liberty, and property, the meaning of the flag has long since died. That should be freedom from oppression, not freedom of. If the flag reminded us that freedom cannot be traded for security, or that a standing army would erode our rights, or the best government governs least, then the flag has no meaning, because these things have been forgotten. The people stomping on the flag are not stomping on those ideals. They are stomping on the hollow shell that was desecrated long ago by our government. People apparently didn't have the energy to tell the politicians, bureaucrats, and government agents to get out when they were symbolically stomping on the flag. So if you want to tell someone to get out, tell it to the people in the government who ruined America. Don't let it be the people who are trying to point out how bad it has gotten. And there's not really anything else I can add to that. Like, Joe did a wonderful job summarizing this. Like, just because I disagree doesn't mean that I should be the one forced to leave and then go find somewhere else to live. And it's always funny that the people that say, like, well, you should leave, they always think that, like, America's the freest place in the world. And based on the various rankings, like, no, it's not. Like, it's consistently dropping. We're now, number 49 in freedom of speech, press freedom around the world? Yeah, America, we're 49. Like, it doesn't have the same ring as what people want. Like, we're number one. This is Peace, Love, Liberty Radio. Don't forget, every Wednesday, the Ask Me Anything, AMA at fpgradio.com.